Before I show the full feature, please beware that there may be a few technical hitches, as this was my first time trying Windows 8. Hope you enjoy. Hey guys, welcome to my video of Windows 8 Developer Preview. For this part I'm going to be installing it, showing through the installation process and just the installation process, and I'm going to do an extra long feature length video for the actual run through of the operating system itself. Now I know you can see lots of grey around, but that's because it's running in this little box. I'm not sure how well it's going to perform or anything. Straight away you notice the change that the font's in the middle. There's slight change here. English, United Kingdom, next, install now. Setup is starting. I'm not sure if the resolution is going to change, that's why I'm recording the whole screen rather than just the little box that you can see. I'm going to have to run it like this sort of resolution. It's kind of weird, but there we go. Right, give your PC a name. Right, let me. Oh, I can just type, can I? The resolution does look funny. That's just because of the way it's set up, and it'll be a bit laggy because of obvious reasons. Express settings, or you can customize. Let's just use express settings. Email address. Okay, let's just use my personal one. Enter a password. Oh, enter the password for this. Very nice animations and such. Log on, creating your account. Why does it say creating your account? I have one. Finalizing your settings. It's saying welcome, preparing your PC. We've got no sound or anything yet. But it's pulled all of my information, my name, from the Hotmail account, so that's quite handy. Here we go. Oh, it's gone straight to the... Oh no, here we go. Metro view. Oh, we have got sound. I need to sort out the performance settings, but this is it. This is what you see when you log in. I'm using a keyboard and mouse. I'm not using touch, but I can see how nice this would be if you implemented touch. Now, I'm not sure if I could use this as an everyday operating system. I'm gonna go to desktop. Here's the desktop. As you'd expect it to be. It's very much like Windows 7. The start menu is literally there is no start menu here. When you press start, it goes back to this menu. So I'll explain more a bit after the jump. Okay, so performance isn't great in this virtual machine. I figured out while I was off air for a minute there. It boots fairly quickly. I'd say tops 20 seconds maybe. And I've set this to recognise 2 gig of RAM and most of the CPU, but the CPU's got cycles for obviously running Windows 7 that I'm on, and all of the programs I have open, the recorder and everything like that, but it's 2 gig of RAM on this system here that you're seeing. So this is the lock screen at the moment. We've got the indicators here. Normally you'd see like email stuff here. There's a network icon. It says the time, the date, and there's a background which you can choose. You can either press enter here or slide it off screen. That's obviously a touch control. and it will take you straight to your lock screen. Now it's pulled the picture off of my Windows Live account. The reason I have that is because I used MSN Talk, which is an app on Android. I'm gonna have to. I can't get widescreen to work, so I'm gonna have to show it to you like this. But so you've got accessibility options here.
Make your okay.
So you've got the narrator guy who says all that. There's power off and shut down here. So I'm just going to put my password in, which is, it takes the password from your Windows Live. It goes welcome. Or not. So straight away we're in and we're at the Metro UI. Obviously this is all made for touch, but I can use normal Windows, I can use a normal mouse and keyboard just as well. So you've got all these apps, you can rearrange the apps, you can rearrange the stacks however you want them to be. There you go, I've just moved that and I can move that and move it all around. So this is the Metro UI. Let's go into the control panel, have a look at some of the settings. Lots of nice animations. Everything's like smooth scrolling. Yeah, I'm using the scroll wheel, smooth scrolling, lovely and smooth. It's customized, right, lock screen. So there's some preset ones here. We can browse. Let's go sample pictures and see what's in here. No items. So this is like the file browser in the Metro UI. So it's all very nice. I'm gonna go with this one just as a change. So there you go, that's now changed. Lock screen notifications. You can actually choose which apps that you can show detailed state. Like you can get apps with the API built in, so that the it shows information on your lock screen. The user tile. This is just you can choose your own user tile and make that your own. Let's click back over here to get to control panel. Obviously, like if you was on a touch device, you'd swipe across, but on here you just click. It's not as fluid and nice, but it's designed for touch really. There's the users panel, wireless notifications, shows what apps you can turn off and on each individual app that deals with notifications. Privacy, allow apps to use my location, that's for devices with GPS. The number of apps in your history. You've got the time zone and such here, all of the general options, sharing options, devices, Windows Update, and you can go to the desktop control panel by clicking more and it will take you to the desktop. So as you may notice, this is a lot like Windows 7, but you can see everything's a bit more square, everything's a bit more sort of smooth and not as glassy anymore. Everything's, let's resize this window. You can see everything's it's a bit more square and there's not much glass going on there. But let's have a look, see if we can change some of that. Appearance and personalization. I'll have to apologise if there's a annoying noise in the background. It's from downstairs. Right, change window colors. Automatic. So I don't know what that does, but I guess automatic will do it dependent on your wallpaper. So let's see if that makes any difference. Let's go personalize, unsaved theme. Let's change our desktop background. Okay, I'm just trying to. Right, let's go for a solid color. So let's go for a red. And yeah, the windows have changed to a slightly red colour. If we change them to orange, they've changed to a slightly orange colour. So it adapts to whatever background you have. Right, yeah, that makes sense. That's a very nice touch. Oh, that's a dual monitor one. So let's just go back to normal Windows 7 wallpaper, which is also used in Windows 8 for now, because it's just a dev preview. So everything's very similar, but of course you'll notice in the Explorer you've got the new ribbon UI here. So I'm just going through some of the desktop things first. You can see the things centered at the top now. You've got ribbon UI and practically everything. There's an up button, which is supposedly important to people, even though you could just press back, but hey. So yeah, everything's, it's a bit more cluttered on the screen, but it gives you sort of access to more controls. I personally don't like it that much because I don't like having all these controls there, but I can see how it could be useful in many ways. So here's Internet Explorer, I think this is 9 or maybe a dev preview of 10. You can see the new scroll bars. New scroll bars are very simplistic. Smooth scrolling is an emphasis in this. So everything does look and feel slightly different. So I'm not entirely sure how we would get to any of your desktop applications because the start button it doesn't work anymore. So I can't imagine how we'd get to anything from here. If we go on computer, local disk, program files, Windows NT, Windows Defender, Windows sidebar, Windows Mail. Okay, so let's just find something. Windows Mail. Contacts. Okay, that wasn't a good example. Let's try Windows Media Player. Okay, so Windows Media Player is opening on the desktop version. Right, okay, so that's opened. So yeah, again, you can see the window changes. It's more square. There's not as much glass. I suppose we can probably change that. We could probably go for the much glassier look again. If we window color, then we change the transparency. So if we turn the color intensity down, then I'm sure there you go. The transparency is a lot further back now. So this is a bit more similar to, you can see through there the transparency. But again, it's a lot more square. It's a very it's a more of a matte feel now up here, much like the most recent additions in Ubuntu. Whereas Windows 7 is very glassy and glossy. There's this big sort of font here. It does look a bit cheap, I think, but I'm sure it's something you'll learn to love with the thing in the middle, much like on a Mac. Yeah, there's not much to be said about the desktop thing here at the minute. Apart from the start button doesn't take you anywhere anymore, so you can open Windows Explorer, but I don't see how you would open your apps from the desktop. I'm not really sure. I suppose what happens is you go to here, and then if there's an app that needs to be opened on the desktop, it will open on the desktop. Like for example, I don't have the Visual Studio and everything, but I imagine that there'd be like a Visual Studio button, and you click on the Visual Studio button, and then it will take you to the desktop, something like that. But without the second click I just did. So I imagine that'll be what happens where that's concerned. Yeah, so I don't think the desktop is. I don't think you can really use the desktop in the way that you used to be able to, which is something that's probably going to come as a disappointment to most users. I mean, I know you can still use it and it's still here, everything's still functional. You can see I'm going through everything, everything's normal, but you still really, ideally, have to launch your apps via the Metro UI here. So let's just have a little walkthrough of some of the apps that are on the Metro UI, and some of because basically the desktop now here is Windows 7 for now. I mean, there's no real change apart from the ribbon UI, the slightly updated Windows. It's still just a normal Windows desktop. There's nothing much extra to it. The main focus here is the Metro UI. You can see there, just by typing, I managed to search the apps. So let's go back. Let's go click on Start. So I'm just sitting here on the screen. I start typing Internet Explorer. There we go. So you can see all different things that have come up here. I can click on something and it should launch, but obviously I'm having a problem launching applications. But that's just an example. Now the applications, they all run full screen. You've probably seen demos of these. Pretty much every application is what you'd expect from, say, a tablet PC. It runs full screen. They run with sort of lots of touch controls and lots of different features with the same sort of similar look Metro UI that we see here. And in regard to desktop, there's another change which you may be more excited about, which is the new improved task manager. So here I can see all the things I have open, which is on the desktop mode. If I go into more detail, we see this lovely new view that they've created, which shows exactly how much CPU is being used, the memory, and it highlights the ones that are using the most, the disk usage, which is the hard drive read and write speed, and the network usage. So I can see all this in this very easy to understand chart. There's background processes here, Windows processes, and you've got the applications here. So I can see straight away that the application using the most memory is Windows Explorer, which is understandable. And the one using most CPU right now is Windows Task Manager. So if we hop over to performance, we get another lovely new view. So we can see here that we've got this, we've got the CPU, and it shows what processor I have, and we've got the utilization. It shows how much of my CPU is being used, the speed, processes, threads, handles, uptime, everything that you're used to, but in a much easier and clearer to see view. It's very, very nice. And there's also a memory chart here with memory composition. Shows how much is available, how much is committed, disk usage. There's another one here, Ethernet, which shows the network. So this would be wireless if you're using a wireless. And it's it's all very nicely laid out, and I'm very impressed by this. So you've got your app history here as well, which shows how much is being used, the resource usage since a certain time. So it says when it was last updated, and it said that the CPU so far, the control panel has used CPU for 7 seconds by the looks of it, something ridiculous like that. And it's nothing's used any network, but this is useful if you've got like a 3G device, because it shows you exactly how much each tile is using. If it's a live tile, how much it's using network wise. Here in the tiles, it shows exactly how much resources is being used by that. Startup items can be here, so you can disable startup items straight away without having to go into msconfig or any of those other things which you usually have to bypass. And also it shows you multiple users. So if I have lots of people logged onto this computer, it says exactly how much each person is using CPU wise, memory wise, disk wise, network wise. Also, this is the detailed view, which is what you're used to, the classic view of what we know in Windows today. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the built-in applications on Windows 8. As I said before, you can't really, in the desktop mode, I'm sorry for the poor performance of the, it's because Camtasia is running and recording this, so that's why it's a bit laggy. If you're seeing any lag, it actually runs very smoothly normally, and also it's a virtual machine, so it's a bit, slow on the uptake. But you can't really launch applications from here anymore unless you pin them to the taskbar. There's no proper start menu anymore. Even if you go to the bottom corner, there's no real start menu here, so you can't really launch any apps. If you click on start, it just takes you back here. So this is likely the predominant place to launch your applications. So let's go into Internet Explorer. So here's the full screen experience that we got going on here. So yeah, we've got smooth scrolling. These sort of the scroll bars here are, if I keep my mouse still and scroll, you can see the scroll bars are very thin, very minimalistic and out of the way. Let's go to somewhere else. Here you go, it shows you your frequent and pinned pages. Let's just go www.google.co.uk. And there you go, very quick. So yeah, you've got the UI down here. I believe that does go away like in certain cases, and you can bring the start menu and that up by going to there as always. So yeah, it's very simple controls. There's one for a new tab. There's one for like the icon, back button, and pin it to your favourites and refresh, of course. So as you're browsing, if you click on the actual website itself, the UI goes away, and it will come up again if you there's a certain part on the screen somewhere around here that will allow you to get the UI back up, and I think it's because I'm in the virtual machine again, it's playing up on me a bit. But full screen browsing, it gets out of the way, so as you change links, the UI will also come up to show you your current URL and everything. So it's all very, very fluid and quite a good. You can not necessarily a great experience in the desktop experience, but as a touch-based browser, I think it will be very nice to use because it's a full-fledged browser based on Internet Explorer 10, I believe. But at the same time, it's not bad for desktop browsing, but I prefer myself to have a full browsing experience. So as you can see by the controls, it's all very optimized for touch. So let's just have a little look here out of interest. Oh, here's the frequent ones, and you can pin like pages here if you visit them frequently as well. But I'm interested to see if there's Flash, because I've heard that in this Metro version of the browser there's no Flash built in at all. So let's go to Newgrounds. Of course, Bing is the default search engine. I've got to say the browser is very fast though. Let's find an appropriate. Yeah, you don't appear to have Flash installed. Okay, so I'm not sure if you can get Flash on this, but I've got to say it's that's kind of disappointing. But again, it is optimized for mobile, and Flash isn't optimized for mobile. So I guess if you wanted something like this, you would open it on the full-fledged desktop version of the site, which I believe there is some way of doing. I'm not entirely sure. There you go. If you right-click, it will bring up any current tabs that you have, and I think you can. There's a gesture or something that you can do to take it to the desktop version, so that you can open it straight into the desktop version of the app. So I'm not sure quite how you do that. Maybe by pressing the Windows. No, because that's Start, isn't it? Right, that goes back into the app. If I go Windows Tab. No, there is a gesture for that somewhere. So that is Internet Explorer in the full screen. And here also we've got the store. Now I'm not going to download any apps, and you can't really see, I don't think it will let you browse this at the minute, but this essentially will be your portal to all of the applications that you can buy and download. There's also a stocks application here which shows you it's a very nice and simplistic user interface, very Metro style. So there's the Microsoft stocks here. I'm sure there's probably somehow an option to add a stock. So let's have a look at the Apple stocks, APL, and there we go. This is the Apple stock. You can see it's rocketing at the moment up to last trade 405. So yeah, you can add and you can sort of switch between them. There's no fancy animations or anything, but it tells you exactly what you need to know. There's different views, so there's over the year, month, week, and it shows you the change. You can also scroll across, which will show marketing news. So this is news relating to Apple and their finances, and the same will happen as well in regard to, obviously I'm using the scroll bar at the bottom, but on a touch experience you'd be able to swipe it across as you would. So Microsoft, and then you can see the market news for Microsoft Corporation. So that again is oh, and there you go. Now that I've opened it, it will keep this updated and probably refresh it every now and then, so that I can see it's like a live tile as on Windows Phone. So there you go. It's now scrolling through all of the stocks that I have open, and I'll be able to see at a glance the information I need to know about it. So you've got an RSS feed and news here, so you can add feeds and you can have a look at feeds that are featured. Essentially this is just so that you can get in, extra news. So say I subscribe to Autoblog, let's go, let's have a look, IGN, Lifehacker, and Engadget, and Gizmodo. There you go. So let's say done, and now it will generate there you go. Now these are all the headlines. Again, optimized for touch, but it works just as well. I mean, I admit that using a keyboard and mouse, I keep sort of wanting to reach out and touch the screen, just like he said in the keynote. You keep wanting to sort of reach out and touch the screen and swipe it along, and I think this is going to be such a better experience on touchscreen computers and on tablets. So there's latest feeds from Autoblog, IGN, Lifehacker, Engadget, Gizmodo, all of the feeds that I've selected, and they're all on the desktop, so I don't have to go to each individual site. All I can do, I go to Engadget, let's say, let's find something that looks interesting. So let's say I'm interested in the Samsung Galaxy Tab, for example. So I click on that and it shows me all of this, the information about it, and I can also scroll through the news. So it will show you the article, but also there's a link to the original article. And there you go, I can just scroll through all of Engadget's latest feed and press escape to get back. And there you have it, that's the news. So Windows Explorer is, as you'd expect, it usually takes you to the home screen. There is an option to browse within the within Metro at some stage. Let's have a little look at Tweetorama. Now this is, of course, a Twitter feed application. I assume that this is this is one of the apps that they've just used to demonstrate the features. So there you go, I've logged on, and here's the timeline. This is my timeline of, you know, my Twitter feed, and I can update my Twitter status here. Here's my feed, like all of the stuff that I've said and posted. If we go along, there's all the people I'm following, all the people that follow me. So yeah, it's just a simple application that shows you sort of what it can do. And, you know, again, in a touch experience this would be a lot nicer. I can see this being very successful on tablets, and I can see tablet PCs and such taking off a lot better now because of applications like this on Windows 8. Socialite, I've heard that this is, you sign into Facebook and so I don't want to sign into Facebook here, but I've heard that it's you know, an application that you use within Windows 8 with the Charms system at the side in order to share things that you have and find. See, did you see what I just did there? I went like that to scroll across because I'm sort of embedded in the touch sort of experience. So here we go. There's a tile puzzle here, very simple. Jumbles up, and now I've got again, this would be much nicer with touch, and as you can see here, I've got to sort of jumble the tiles around until I get somewhat a picture that resembles what it should be. Obviously I'm not going to do that all now, but you know, it's just a demonstration application again of what it can do. So let's have a little look at a few others. You've got 5 in a row. Near me, this is quite an interesting application. I believe what this does is uses your location to determine. Yeah, let's allow that. It will probably pick up my location by my IP. So it will give you all these different things. So let's say I want to grab a bite, get something to eat, and now it will show me. It will show me things in my local area. No, it hasn't used my location, but it's using an example one. It will show all different things nearby that I could go to grab a bite. So, you know, it's very sort of consumer based. I mean, the business element of Windows is still there if you go back into the desktop, but I think this is very heavily consumer based and focusing on the future of tablet PCs and simple design. And I think that's going to pick up a lot, whether we like it or not. I'm not so sure about it yet. I do like very simple design, and I do like the fact that it's very sort of iPad-ish, you know, Android, mobile. But as a full-fledged PC, I'm not sure if it will work. So again, this would be much better on a touch-based experience. You know, I could increase or decrease the range here. Let's I screwed that up. It's supposed to be Forever Jacker. I can do it, but obviously if I had touch I'd be able to. There you go. So yeah, simple piano application. You know, these are just examples. Picture stream. I'm not going to go through all of them because it will take forever. But there's, you know, Paint Play here is an example. It's just a simple painting application. So it's you know, a very simple application that will let you paint, and obviously again this is something that will be a lot better with a touch experience. So you know, it's very nice. You can turn transparency. You can sort of change how transparent it is so that's solid, or you could make it so it's very transparent so you can still see stuff through it like that. You could change to different. There's a 3D type pen there. You can change the depth. You know, it's just an example application to sort of show you what it's capable of. So you've got an alarm system, remote desktop as in Windows 7. You've got note space here, which is pretty much as it suggests. Essentially, what this does is it creates for you sort of a sort of note board where you can, you know, get something and you can write your notes, or you could or for example, maybe I could use an ink input. So if I scroll down, I can now write in that. I can actually physically write. So if I had like a tablet or something, I could write a message to my friends or family so that they can see it. And there's all this space, you can see, there's all this space that you can use as your notice board. So there's a hell of a lot of space. It's the interface isn't amazing, but again, it's just an application to show you what it can do. And again, I definitely stand by the fact that this Windows 8 experience would be so much better as a touch-based experience. I wouldn't be able to stand using this with a keyboard and mouse for much longer. It's very nice, but I'm more of a sort of multitasking person. I'm not sure how the notification system pans out in this, but for example, I'd like to be able to play some Minecraft and go on the internet and have Spotify running, playing my songs, and be on Skype and receiving notifications, and on Facebook and receiving notifications. So I'm not sure how it's going to pan out with the notification system. But as you can see, you know, there's plenty that's going on here, and obviously it's still in the works. But again, I definitely stand by the fact that Windows 8 is a lot nicer as a touch-based experience, and I'm really looking forward to see what it holds for touch-based PCs and tablets. But for now, as a desktop experience, I'm very disappointed with the fact that you can't really use the desktop primarily. Sorry about that. If I go to the desktop now, I want to launch a program. You can't. There's nowhere to launch the program. You have to like fiddle with the registry settings to bring back the old taskbar so that you can launch applications. I mean, I suppose I could go into the file system and go in computer, local disk, program files, you know, find something, media player, and find the media player and open it. But you know, that's something I don't want to be doing. I want to be able to use it as a normal desktop PC. So I don't see what advantage Windows 8 would have over Windows 7 if you wanted this desktop. So I imagine Windows 8 is only really going to take off for upgrade users if you have a touch-based PC, or you just want simplicity and you don't really mind about multitasking. So overall, Windows 8, I think it does need a lot of work, because you know, people, I mean me included, I'm not ready to quite adjust and make the massive leap over to this very simple computing, which is all tile-based touch. You know, I'm using a standard PC. I'm using a 6-core Tower PC, and I don't want a 6-core Tower PC to be running this simple, cartoony-looking thing that, although very nice, doesn't work on a desktop. I'd only be impressed with this if I was using it on a tablet. Because on a tablet or a touchscreen PC or laptop, this would be definitely be a whole different experience, and it would be so much better. So yeah, that's my verdict anyway. So I recommend, if you want to, you download and try it out. you know, there's so much more that it can give, especially if it was a touch-based experience. I'm definitely sticking by that, and if this is the case and you can't really use the desktop as a full-fledged desktop anymore, as you can in Windows 7 and before, I don't think this is going to be something I will buy. Maybe something to run on a touch-based PC or portable device, but for the desktop, I really strongly believe at the moment that Windows 7 will be what XP was to Vista. No one's really going to want to upgrade if they've got a full desktop system, because you know definitely the Windows desktop it's not really used. I mean, I can't really judge it based on that at the moment, because like for example, I use Google Chrome, but there's no Google Chrome here that I can use, and I can't really judge that. I suppose I could try and download it. Let's have a little nose. If I can go into full Internet Explorer, let's get Google Chrome. It probably won't work. It won't be compatible. Let's see how this works out. There should be a window popping up, but there isn't, so let's click here. Right, run. Right, yeah, that's downloading. Windows 7 progress bar. Security scan. Yes, yes. I am quite horrified by anything with an Internet Explorer logo on it, to be honest. That's just a personal preference. That's something I haven't yet experienced as well. Let's try that actually. What I'm going to do is go into the Documents library, and I'm going to go New Image, New Image, New Text Document. So let's, for example, spam this. So it's a file with some size. Save that. So 1 kilobyte. Right, let's check out the new copying system. So let's cut that, close that there, and now what I want to do is paste. Oh, that was tragic. Oh dear, ignore that blip. Oh, you have new apps installed. Oh right, so Google Chrome has actually came up in the full desktop experience, and it's just as it would be. That's fair enough, I suppose, and I suppose it's there, so it opens in the normal thing. It's just sort of. I still believe that it's quite a confusing experience, because you're still really living out of Metro. You know, no matter how many. There you go. Google Chrome's installed here. I can move it along or do what I want with it. I can put it like here or something. So if I click it, it's going to open in the normal desktop. But then maybe if I had, say, I don't know, a music application open here like Spotify or something, then that would open here. So I'd be sort of trying to balance between Metro and the desktop and Metro and the desktop, and I think maybe it's going to become a bit confusing for consumers. I'm not really sure. I'm finding it really hard to describe at this stage. It's a big change, I've got to say. I'm sorry if I'm rambling as well, by the way, guys, but I've been asked to do this in detail because it is quite difficult for a beginner to set up this in a virtual machine or install it without damaging your computer. So I'm trying to be as detailed as I can, so I'm very sorry if that's boring you. But yeah, so as you can see, Google Chrome opens in the normal desktop. So, but maybe I would like to have my Twitter feed open. So let's get the Twitter feed again, wherever that may be. Where is it? I don't know where it's gone. Oh, here it is. It's got the live tile. Right, so now let's say I want to go back to the... Alright, so that's like that. But let's say I want to go to the desktop now. See, I can't do that. I'd have to go there and click on desktop, because desktop sort of runs in the same way an application does. If I press Windows, it goes back to start. If I press Windows, it goes back to desktop. But if I open an application and press Windows, it goes back to start, and press Windows and it goes back to the application I just closed. So you can't really switch between it. And it still does, you know, it shows up as an application here. I'm using the Windows and Tab as you would Flip 3D in Vista and 7, and the desktop comes up as it's acting like an application. So you can you still really sort of get the feel that Metro really is running the show here. I'm just trying to find an example of the new copying system. So let's try and find no sample videos. I'm just trying to find something that's got lots of files. Program files, there's lots of stuff here. So let's just copy that and close, and let's paste that to desktop. So there you go, and you can pause, or you can show more details. It shows you the speed and time remaining, so I undo that, and did you see it had the little graph there that showed all of the information about the speed of the download and the you know, the copy and paste or whatever I did and everything like that. So it's a very simple. There you go, there it was again. You saw the speed. It did that at 770 megabytes a second. So there you go. So that does pretty much cover the entire of Windows 8. There's not much else really that I can show you that's new. It's just a case of, you know, trying it for yourself, seeing if you like it. I do love all these applications. I do think they are very nice, and I do like the Metro interface. I think it's fairly smooth. The one thing that I'm not liking about it is the fact that it's so based around Metro. Even the desktop feel, even though they say the desktop is part of Windows still, it still feels to me like this is an application in itself, and that it shouldn't really, like, you shouldn't really be using it all the time. And that I find a bit worrying, because it kind of shows that we're really gearing towards mobile operating systems now rather than full-fledged Windows and desktop applications. So I have to say that overall, very impressed. I really like this, and you know, if I could ever get a mobile device like a tablet, I would consider a Windows 8 tablet, because it is very nice. I'm very impressed with it, and it's very fluid. The live tiles are very you know, informative. There's a lot that you can do to customize it, and overall it's a very interesting product that is still in development, and I'm sure we'll see lots of improvements in the beta as we start to see that come out, and the release candidates and such like that, because this again is only an early developer preview. So for now, that's pretty much it. So if you're wondering, again, the desktop really isn't how you remember it in Windows 7 anymore. You can still run applications in it, but applications prefer to run here, which are all pretty much full screen applications. So I'll be interested to see how notification system works. For example, if I'm in Google Chrome, well, that's not full screen application yet. If I'm in the Windows, in the Internet Explorer application, I'll be interested to see if there's something pops up that says so and so is online, or you have one new message, or something like that. Because only then will I say that maybe this is the way forward, if they get the notification system right, which, as simple as it sounds, is a fairly complex task. So that is it, guys. That is my preview of Windows 8. Soon to come will be Ubuntu 10.10 beta and a few other operating systems. If you have any comments about what you've seen, or anything that you'd like me to answer, please post it in the comments below. I'll try and get around to answering all of your comments, and if you have any suggestions for future videos, please post them as well. Thanks for watching, and I'll look forward to seeing you in my next video.